Hello, and it's Tammy back from the Broken Doll, and tonight I'm here for a video I'm making for Cheryl and Mom's Collectibles. Cheryl, you're doing a wonderful job. I can't believe how well you're doing, asking all the right questions, doing all the right stuff. Wow. And thank you for the shout out too for my channel. I appreciate it. But let's talk about what you're doing and where we're going. Okay. Now, I got an itchy arm. Okay. When you lifted up your doll's leg, I saw at the back of your doll, if you were just to take your scalpel and just do a little slit like this in the material, you can always sew it up later if you want. The wire was sitting right there. Now, on my doll, they're not in the same place. You'll find that with some doll manufacturers, you might find one at the back, one on the side. This one's on the side, this one's on the back. I think it is. It looks like here to me, they did some extra sewing, so maybe it was in here. It could have been right here, which I'm looking at a hole at the back here. So it very well could have been back here, and for some reason it got moved over here because it looks like a new wire was put in. So take that into consideration. Now, my next thing I'm going to talk to you about is, why did I say that I always start in the seams? Well, when a leg is put together, now this is my X-Acto knife. You can see the difference. This is a scalpel. I bought quite a few of these from, and I use them. I love them. They're great. You can get in different colors. So you don't know what color you're going to get, because I ordered, I think it was yellow, and I got blue, and I got green, and I did get some yellows as well. The thing is that the blades are a little bit more flimsier, but they're great for cutting things. They're really sharp, so be careful with your fingers on them because they are sharp. But this is an X-Acto knife. My husband made me buy this at a yard sale many, many years ago. Came in a little wooden case, and I'm glad he did. He put the pressure on me. I can buy the blades. It just undoes, you unscrew it, and the blade comes out. Maybe I don't have unscrewed enough, or it could be that it's rusted. I gotta put some oil on it, which I gotta do. Okay, it's rusted in there, but I can get it out. I've done it before. But anyways, and usually when it's like that, I like to use pliers, but don't use your fingers, because this is, even when you think your blade is dull, it's still sharp to the finger. All right, it just may not be doing the job you're looking for. But let's talk about why I always say start in a seam. The reason is that you want to start in a seam is because the legs are put from back to front. They put a seam down here and they put a seam down here. A lot of the times what happens is when the doll is painted, the paint will not adhere to this clay that they use to go down here. I'm not using the right word. Clay is not the right word, but it's the best I can get out of my mouth and my head can think of right now. There's another name for the plaster. This plaster they used goes down the leg to seal the joint together. They did it on this side as well. They did it on the arms as well. The head is from back to front. They used it on the head as well. You can see the first place that goes, it's right along the seam where this plaster is. You can take the paint off really easy. Why? Because the paint doesn't adhere to it. It adheres to the leg really well because that's where the wood is. Oil paint loves wood. Even acrylic will adhere to wood to some degree. It's years down the road what happens to acrylic that we are dealing with today. Oil paint will separate. The oil dries out, the paint separates. That's why we get this thing called crazing. So anyhow, when I say to start a doll, I say look for along the leg here. And if you see a place where this white, I already forgot the word, plaster is, start there, because why? There's your opening to get inside the doll and to start getting the paint off. Now see, as soon as I hit the wood, it gets a little tougher. And that's why you dig in and you leave those marks behind, because now your knife is digging a little bit into the composition and leaves a little tick mark, I call it. Now to cover those tick marks up, I use spackling. But if I have where composition it actually came off the doll, a layer of composition, I have to milliput that to make it even across. Sometimes spackling is too soft. It's great for in your seam areas, but if I had a place I saw in your doll where some composition was missing, milliput it. Don't spackle it. Well, you can try it and see how it does. It might do fine, but myself, I would milliput that little area in there. But I love this part of the doll when I'm going to start to restore a doll. This is where I love to start, because why? It gives you that encouragement. Keep fingers away because you're working with a knife. Always work away from your hands as much as you can. But this is where I love to start because it's easy on the knife, and it gives you some encouragement of seeing it begin, your work begin. But if you try to start in the middle, you don't see no place where you can start. So that's the problem at hand here. You know, it just, it's so much easier. Now, your paint will fly everywhere. I've had it down my top, in my hair, all over the place. I heard you say you moved it into your kitchen, but you might find it on your cupboards. You could. It just depends on how it flicks, you know. It can hurt. I've been flicked right in the face and it stings. You know, I found I had a spider web that was up above my head when my shop was the old shop. Like this, it was this shop, but it was designed differently because my husband had one half, I had the other. The other half I had a spider web, and I found a paint flick up in the spider web. So he was going to eat some composition paint or some oil paint or whatever it was, acrylic or whatever, because he didn't have a fly in there. He had paint. But yeah, these are easy to deal with. Okay, let's talk about the dolls that you had on your other video there. Okay. The first doll to me that you had on there looked like a European doll. Go check out Cheryl's doll. She buys dolls and then she puts them up for sale. She has a, what do you call it? An auction, an online auction on her channel there. I think it's on Facebook or something, or it's, she'll tell you. If you go on YouTube to Cheryl's Mom and Collectible Dolls, she'll tell you when she's having her next auction and where to find it and everything. And her dolls go for very reasonable. If I didn't have so many, I probably would be buying from her because they look wonderful. But I got so many, and I've been looking at dolls, and I see two that I like to buy, but I'm not going to. I refuse to. I don't know where I put them. That's the problem after a while. But here's the thing. Your number one doll that you showed, to me, only to me now somebody else might see it now, Antoinette, you gave a good insight on it. You thought it was an American doll. I thought it was a European doll for some reason. I don't know why. It's just maybe the clothing did it to me. Her face did something. I thought she was like a, you know how you go buy yourself a souvenir doll? Well, they came in bigger sizes. Even back then, they didn't all were little like we can get today. And back years ago, they bought little souvenir dolls. Now, it could have come over with a little girl from Europe or something. I don't know. I don't know who she is. With no markings on her, what it's saying about her, I don't know. Your second one had a caracule wig, which is baby lamb or goat or something. I'm not sure which one. And anyhow, to me, it's an unmarked baby Bubbles. Or Dimples, I mean, Dimples. It looks like a baby Dimples. Now, it could be a marked one that only was with the first ones could have just had a wrist tag. And it was later that Horseman put the markings on them. That has been known to happen to dolls. So I'm not sure what Horseman did in there because it really has the baby Dimples look. So I'm really wondering if it's one of their earlier ones and it came with a wrist tag. I can't prove it for you. Don't know for sure. But I got this gut feeling about that it could be a wrist tag doll marking that we don't have anymore. And then later they marked their dolls. I'm wondering if that's what was going on. I didn't check the eyes, if they're tin or not. If they're tin eyes, I'm wondering that's an early baby Dimples unmarked one. That was maybe more marked with a wrist tag. Your last doll that you had there, where you put the chest plate back together again, I would just sand it and paint it and see how it looks. You could fill it in. I was watching a gentleman on Rachel Hoffman, and he used a plastic acrylic putty, it's called, and he used it on composition, and it fills in little cracks like that. Go look for it. If I can find that video, then you'll know what he used. He was fixing a composition doll that was dropped and it was in pieces, and he glued it back together again with an epoxy glue, which is a two-part 50-50. You squeeze it out and you get 50-50 automatically. You stir it with a little stick and you got to use it up quick. So you got to be quick about it. So you don't want to put a whole bunch on a piece of paper or anything, on a piece of cardboard. That's what he added on, which is what you want to do. Put it on a piece of cardboard, stir it up, And then you got to start gluing your pieces together. It won't take long, and that stuff starts to harden. You might have to pour more out. But then what he did was, where there was like cracks where he could, like where the glue kind of left like a crack, he took acrylic putty, it's called. And it was in like a tube. If I find it, I'm going to put it down below. It didn't look like it cost much either. My Walmart apparently has it. I imagine, if not, if I don't see it, that's what they say. I think I had to order it. It would take 2 weeks for it to come in, so I think I'm wrong about that. My Walmart may not have it. I have to order it through Walmart, but I can also get it through Michael's or through Amazon, which it's Amazon I'm probably going to because I got Prime. And might as well use my Prime up. But keep using my Prime since I'm paying for it. And the difference in the prices wasn't much anyways. So I'm not worried about the money part of it. It was like $13 or $12. I mean, that's how much this little tube was. But that's what it's called. If I can show you his video, I'm going to put it down below in the title or somewhere there. You look for it, please, and it's going to tell you. Or I might put it, I'm going to put it in there. You're going to see it, and really something you might want to look at and buy for that crack to fill in, because I'm getting myself some too. Did not know it existed. And this is a little bit of an older video, but maybe three years old or something like that. I can't remember, but it has some age to it. So the stuff is still out. I saw it on there, no problem. But that's what he used, and he was able to paint right back over it too. You can sand it and you can paint it, and it can take to acrylic and oil. So there you go. It's wonderful stuff by the way it looks. Now, I don't know if we can get the exact one he had, but there was plenty of them out there. I never ever heard of the stuff before. And so I'm learning just as well. Like I tell everybody, I'm learning just like you are, and then I pass on what I learn. So for the amount of money that you're going to put out on it is probably, and you're going into restorations like this, it might be worth it to have it in your arsenal of equipment to have to fixing up a doll. You always need a certain amount of stuff that you need to work with, and you can't live without. And that's what I do. There's some things I just can't live without in my arsenal, and of tools and chemicals and things like that you need for restoring these beautiful old dolls. They do take some money and some chemicals and some tools, and but once you buy it, you have it for a while, especially your chemicals. You do have to replace them over time, but you have them and they're there now, and if it's going to make it look better, why not? So I thought I'd add that in there. I'm more than sure I can find it, I will put it down below. And you watch him and you see what he does. It's marvelous what he does, and how beautiful that doll looked again afterwards. So it was a great video to watch. So I'm going to pass that on to you and down below, and you can go and check it out. And everybody else out there too, if you're interested in this is just not for Cheryl. This is for everybody else out there. So I'm not just going to point out Cheryl. I want anybody who's interested in just knowing. Sometimes knowing how do you know how do you know what to go to if you don't know? And this is the wonderful part about other people ahead of me who have learned, and now you can go and do it as well. And we pass on that information to everybody else. So I hope this helps Cheryl, you out, and everybody else out there who is just interested in learning or also restoring your dolls, because you can do it on your own, believe it or not. It just takes time to sit down and just take one doll. It just starts with one that you start with and you learn from, and believe me, you're gonna love it. I am not an artist by no means. I am not. I hated art all through school. I'm better at writing it, creative writing, than I am in actually drawing stuff. My daughter can draw. Me, I cannot draw. I mean, and when I say my daughter can draw, like she does way better than me. I mean, way better. And she has an eye for it. I have an eye more for the creative part, the writing part. But when it comes to this type of stuff, I'm mastering it slowly. And I've come a long ways. And any information I have, I try to pass it on. So I hope this helps you out, Cheryl. You're doing a great job. All the encouragement to you. Thumbs up. There it is. Okay. Which is actually this way. If I go like this, I mean it like this, thumbs up, type of thing. I just want you to see that I got the thumb and up, But anyways, there you go. Thanks again for joining me. I got more coming here. And a lot more to be seen, and a lot more I'm going to be doing on these wonderful dolls of mine in the shop. Thanks again. Bye-bye.